Question 1A asked what was the significance of the agreement according to source B. According to source B, the London Naval Agreement barely had any significance at all because it says that it was not a lasting achievement and that naval construction increased markedly after the conference. And, and finally, that the British inserted a clause which would enable them to withdraw. It is important to include quotations in your answer so that the examiner knows that you know what you're talking about. Therefore, the source was not efficient. The source says that the agreement was not efficient and did not accomplish its purpose to contribute to a naval disarmament. However, it did state some implicit significance, although for a short time only, since it marked a considerable success in the arms control process. And its significance was also that even though they did not accept submarines, they accepted a smaller ratio for every for every category, and parity between America and Britain was achieved. This question was 3 marks only, so it is important to be precise and concise. Question B asks, what is the message conveyed by source C? Source C in this case is a cartoon, as shown in the screen. As portrayed by the vibrant facial expressions of these two politicians which are standing up, which are the American President H. Hoover and the British Prime Minister R. MacDonald, the United States and Great Britain were much more excited about the agreement than France and Italy, who are these two men sitting down looking at each other. These were reluctant to help, as portrayed by their cautious postures and looks. This is supported by source D. Let's scroll down to source C, which states that neither the Italians or the French signed the New Limitation Pact. On the other hand, Britain and the United States show a lot of leadership because of the way in which they are standing up, quite excited, quite proud, and quite firm. And they are also very enthusiastic, and they demonstrate a fine relationship amongst them because they are cheering together. Question 2 is compare and contrast the views expressed in sources D and E about the London Naval Conferences. Both sources make clear criticism of the London Naval Conferences and of the treaty signed. However, source E is much more critical of the treaty than source D, stating it was a supreme failure of all conferences. This shows the extremeness of the criticism. Source D is more focused on the reasons why armament was made possible, while source E focuses more on the effects of the treaty. This is shown when source D states there were unique political reasons that made the apparent compromise possible. American reluctance to translate financial power into naval might, the British decision to cut back on naval construction, and the continuing conservationism of the government in Tokyo. Both sources recognize the strains in relations between Italy and France, including their refusal to sign the treaty. Source D states, relations, particularly since Mussolini had taken power, were uneasy if not strained. In account to foreign relations, source E mentions American tension with Japan, as it states the continuing conservationism in the government in Tokyo. And also, source E says there is tension created between America and Japan which did not exist 3 months ago. While source D makes not much reference. Also, both consider the treaty to be temporary, as source E states, and after 5 years of this, it will have to be done over again. Once again, the powers will meet at a table, focused, um, focus focus their attention upon these details and compare their naval power more, which is right here. As Paola said, it's really important to use quotes because it shows the examiner what you know what you're talking about and that you've actually read the source, not just waffled. Question 3 is, with reference to their origin and purpose, assess the value and limitations of source A and B for historians studying the 1930 Naval Conference. First of all, source A is reliable because it is a statement by the president of the United States, H. Hoover, which was the president at the time. Because it is part of a press conference, which it's stated right here. It shows that it is an official communication of the president to the country and reported at the time the treaty was signed. So the press conference was given in order to inform the rest of the United States that this treaty was going to be signed and why the United States supported it. This, however, could be used to justify United States involvement in foreign policies to the government and the rest of the countries who wished for isolationism. Source B is an extract from a book written by Philip Payson O'Brien in 1996. He's a British historian. This gives the source reliability because Philip Payson O'Brien is a well-known historian who has authority on the subject. Also, because the book was written so long after the event happened, it gave the historian time to look back and study the reliability of his facts and know that everything was correct. The title of the book, British and American Naval Power Politics and Policy from 1900 to 1936, suggests that the purpose of this book was to analyze the naval policies between U.S. and Britain between 1900 and 1936, which means that it focuses on naval power, and the London agreements were obviously a very important factor there between 1930 and 1935, so we know that it was very important for this historian. However, this title shows the focus was on the U.S. and Britain, so information on other countries such as another country such as the Italians, which are mentioned right here, can't be reliable as the rest because it is mainly focusing on Britain and America.
I disagree with the statement that London Naval Conference was unsuccessful because the conference accomplished one of its main aims, to take further steps into disarmament and to carry out the conference and have 4 well-off countries assist. The agreement was already taken some action. However, source A demonstrates that further steps were concrete, as H. Hoover, the President of the United States, and the H. Hoover stated that signing the naval treaty, that he was signing the naval treaty at 3 o'clock this afternoon. At 3 o'clock. On the other hand, I do agree with the statement because even though they all met, they only got 3 signatures to its key provisions, as stated in source D. Hence, if only 3 countries agreed with the pact, it would not be of major influence to the whole world. Mitigating circumstances have to be taken into account, though, because as seen in source D2, relations were uneasy, if not strained. Unfortunately, the essence of the London Naval Agreement was not appropriately dealt with. This treaty was inspired in the country's urge to halt the increasing expenditures into the naval race due to the economical crisis caused by the Great Depression in the United States in 1929. Japan, on the other hand, actually benefited to the ratio agreed at the conference U.S., Britain, Japan 10-10-7 respectively, and actually obtained submarines, which beats the purpose of not diverting resources into the naval force. However, as a success to a certain degree was that both Britain and America were going to save some money from reducing the amount of vessels they had, therefore investing it into social problems in each country. The purpose was also because, as Churchill stated in source E, by bringing this to the table, you have led to a large naval expenditure. I agree with the statement that the London Naval Conference was unsuccessful because it beat its own purposes, which were to reduce the expenditures by the countries. However, it was a success due to its intentions, which was which was to take further steps into disarmament. And it was, however, it was not successful because it only lasted for 5 years, which was not what they intended. Therefore, it was by far an, a failure more than a success. Hence, we agree with the statement far more than we disagree with it.